So we want to go through some of the important dates, the drop deadline date that's coming up. We want to also talk about dropping a course. Often we find as advisors, students have difficulty in making that decision. So we are here to support you guys through making that decision. However, the final decision will be yours. So we'll go through the slides, I'll explain them to you. The other thing is we want to talk about, the other goal is academic support, especially during this time. Everyone is working at home from home. Everyone is studying from home. You guys are doing online courses, and some students like that, some students don't. Some students are having difficulty transitioning to, from in-person class to online. So we want to go through some resources, academic support we want to provide to you guys that we hope you are going to execute and use. And we will also talk a bit about petitioning a course. So what happens after you complete a course and you want to drop it? Maybe there are extenuating circumstances that prevented you from dropping the course at the drop deadline date. So Miranda, one of our staff member here, will go through those slides with you. But first, again, I want to introduce myself. My name is Tina Reddy, Josephine, Miranda, and our academic student advisor, Navru. So as you all know by now, we are all working from home. So it may appear that York is closed, but we're not. Everyone is working, all employees are working from home, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. The way you can reach us, as you can see, our address is located here on the screen. So we're located on the 3rd floor of the Lumbers building, but we're not physically there. We're actually physically home. So the way to reach us is you can email sciquest@yorku.ca. We also have a science chat. So if you go to science.yorku.ca, you'll see a chat box at the bottom of the screen. We encourage you to send your questions through these channels to get in touch with us. Because again, we're not physically in campus. We don't know when we're going to be returning. We're hoping and praying sometime next year, but we don't know at this point. So I want us all to buckle down and just, continue with what we have to deal with right now. And I wish you guys all the best of success in your studies. I feel for you all having to work from home, study from home. I'm sure it's not an easy transition. It's a lot more work. But I think you all need to keep your eye on your goal, and your goal is to complete your studies, complete your course, and graduate. So even though we have this hiccup, COVID, that we have to deal with, we will all get through it some way or another. I encourage you guys to reach out to us, communicate with us. We can't find you, you have to find us, okay? So I just want to talk a bit about transition from high school to university. I'm talking to, if there are any new students in the room, or even the second year students here. As we know, or you know by now, transitioning from high school to university is very different. So next slide, please. So high school versus university, you guys, I'm going to say we because I feel like I'm part of you guys too. So new environments. So from high school, you have a smaller building. You're able to communicate with your teachers easier, your friends. Well, the other thing that's new is learning styles. So we have social learning versus independent learning. So right now at university, you're pretty much on your own, whether you're on campus or not. So it's a bit of a different learning style for everyone. The teachers, the professors are different. They each teach different styles. So that's different from high school. And then, the other thing is you're going to meet new friends. Now for the newcomers for this fall that started, of course, you're not going to meet anyone at this point because you're not on campus, but hopefully you communicate or connect with people through other channels in class. And then some students may be living on campus. So high school, you're living with your parents versus now you're living with roommates, right? Class size is a big one. So we're moving from a smaller class size from high school to university. You have 200 to 500 students in your first year. So that would be like the chemistry course, the chemistry 1000, the bio 1000, any of the 1000 courses, they're quite a large group. So the point to this slide is that you will experience a transition, and it will be different. And you'll find mostly what you're doing will be independent. So tips for transition from high school to university. Obviously, you can't spend time on campus at this point. So you have to find other ways of doing that, right? Explore campus services. So this information is all online. So we have the career services, counseling, student services, recreational services. Those things are available online to review. See an academic advisor is an important one that I want you to take away from this slide is you connect with us. Okay, we're your advisors. We are still working. We're still available, but again, not physically on campus. We are. You can get us through email. Okay. Sign up for peer tutoring, which we'll talk about a little bit later, how to do that. And there's group study sessions that Bethune Services run. So one of the staff here will speak a little bit about how you can connect for peer tutoring, especially coming close to exam season. You may be having difficulty and you may want to reach out to someone who can help you with a specific subject. So we will talk about that a little bit later. Okay, and set aside time outside of class, tutorial labs, and now your class is basically, outside, meaning you're inside your house studying or on campus in your room. So we advise you to maybe, set aside time to go outside and study. I mean, it's getting cold now, but hopefully there's a place you can go to find your happy place in terms of studying and get involved. So getting involved, meaning there are a lot of groups on campus that you can get involved in. So these are some of the things that we encourage you guys to do. But the important one, I think, right now is seeking out your advisor and getting peer tutoring if you need it going into the exam season. Okay, so I do see a question, Josephine. Before we go to the next slide, I'll try to answer that. I know a lot of you guys have been sending us message. So there's a message a month ago. I sent an email to SI appointments at York U to ask for a possible appointment, and I never heard back. I did email with my York email. I did send that email at the wrong time or the wrong address. Did I send that email? So we can't really verify if you did or didn't send it. But what I'm going to ask you to do is send that email back to SciQuest, SCIQUESC. Thank you, Josephine. Send your question to that email. I can't say why you never got a response, obviously, because I'm not looking at my email that email address right now, or inbox. So please send your question back to us and we will try to address it as best as we can. Okay, Josie. Okay, so an important thing also I want you to take away from this presentation is the important deadlines. So this is one of the questions that we were talking about, or I mentioned earlier when I set one of the goals today is to relate the important deadlines. So that, let me get started with classes started, obviously, September 9 because you're in class, but this is really important going into other terms because we do have deadline dates that you have to abide by. So we have last date to announce when classes start, last date to announce components of final grades. Okay, so that's really important for you to take away. And winter classes end when it starts and end, and you have study days as well in there. So that's in April though, so that doesn't really apply. Can we go to the drop deadline dates? So I can, okay, here we go. So this is the one, sorry, the previous slide was more about class start and end, but this one is what I want you to keep in mind. So last date to add a course without permission, which it's already passed, but the date that I want you to take away from this slide is a drop deadline date. So some students who are possibly thinking of dropping a course because they're not doing well, they may want to consider dropping that course by November 6th. Okay, this is for fall term courses. For the full year, you have time. It goes until February 5th. But for the fall courses, you have until November 6th to drop a course. Okay. Now, I'll talk a little bit later about what are some of the things decision-making skills you use to decide whether you're going to drop a course by this deadline or not. Okay, so we'll get to that in a second. Course withdrawal period. So we have the drop deadline November 6th. If you do not drop a course by November 6th, it will remain in your transcript. So on midnight of November 6th, you must drop this course if you do not want it to appear in your transcript. Okay. November 7th to December 8th, there's another policy that is called the course withdrawal period. That means you can withdraw from a course and receive a grade of W on your transcript. So the W will show on your transcript, but it will not count towards your overall GPA. The course will not count, but it will show on your transcript. Okay, so that's what we call the course withdrawal period. So that's November 7th to December 8th. Okay, so if you're contemplating dropping a course that you do not want it to show in your transcript, you must do that by November 6th. If you want to give it a try and continue plugging away at the course, you can still ask for the course to have a W, and that time period is between November 7th and December 8th. So I want you to take away two things from this slide: the drop deadline date and the course withdrawal period. Okay. Next slide, please. Miranda and Josephine, chime in if there's anything you think I missed. Okay, dropping a course of financial impact. So a lot of times students they're not aware that if they drop a course that they will not get a refund. Okay, so financial date and drop dates are two different dates. They're not the same. So let's say I dropped the course on November 6th. It doesn't mean I'm going to get a refund for that course. You will lose your money. Okay, but I always say to my student, it is better to save your GPA and forget about the money. But some students are in financial need, so I can't make that decision for you. But my advice is you have to weigh which one is more important. Okay, you can always retake a course, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, so dropping a change in courses may cost money. Dropping course can affect your OSAP eligibility. So you want to keep that in mind. If you do drop courses, you do want to let OSAP know. So if you did receive funding from the government, OSAP funds, and if you decide to drop courses, you need to let them know so that they can adjust the funding. Okay, so it's really important when you make that decision to drop, you let OSAP know as well. Thank you. Next. Okay, so we just talked about the drop deadline date. Let's talk about things to consider before dropping a course. So are you not doing well because you did not study? So you want to think about the factors that are affecting your grade. So one will be you did not study, right? Or there's contents in the course that you're not familiar with and you need some help with that, right? So these are things to think about. So you want to see what is it that, some other factors that can affect you is one of the big factor I think right now is COVID. Okay, it's affecting everyone, mental health. Not everyone, but most people. It's affecting people working from home, studying from home. That's a big factor right now, right? So you want to think about what is it, why am I not doing well in this course? Did I not study? Is it because of online? Is it because of my professor doesn't teach, I don't understand my professor. That we can't do nothing about. Right now, you don't have any travel back and forth to university, so that will not be a factor. So I think the biggest factor is if you didn't study and the circumstance we're dealing with right now. Josephine, Miranda, you guys have anything else, or Navroop, to add to this slide? Things to consider.
I'll also point out that if you need to be a full-time student, as mentioned for OSAP purposes, you have to make sure that you have that status, and dropping a course wouldn't let you lose that status, because then you could have some financial implications. And also for international students, you need to be a full-time student for visa purposes. So just make sure that when you are dropping your course, you're not going into part-time status, because there will be some issues later on.
Okay, thank you, Josephine. So I do see a question that I think I must answer. If we drop a course with a full 100%, with a full 100% refund, will the money be deposited directly to my bank account? So let me reiterate. So if you drop a course this fall, you will not get, by the drop deadline date, actually, you will not get a refund right now if you drop it today or tomorrow. Okay, that deadline's passed. So you will not get a refund for your fall. Get a refund for your winter courses and for, well, not summer yet, but winter for sure, because we do have deadline dates for winter as well. And because you haven't started the course yet, York will not charge you for a course if you drop it before the start of class, okay? The way it works with refunds is after the first week, they start deducting 10%, 20%, 30%, okay? So they start they meaning York. So you want to be mindful of when you drop a course, be aware of what the other deadline is. What is it that I need to know about getting my money back? And look at that deadline online, okay? It's there. So no, you will not get a refund. Will OSAP reduce the self-funding if you do not have a full course load? That's something you have to take up with OSAP. I would encourage you to contact the OSAP office and ask that question. We do have an OSAP. Oh, thank you, Miranda. So Miranda just put in the chat box, Student Financial Services website for refund, the refund table. Please check that. There's another email to be aware of is rscheck@yorku.ca. So any questions you have about financial services or OSAP, email rscheck@yorku.ca. That email is a registrar office email address. And please be a little bit not mindful, but they may take some time to get back to you, okay? Because again, everyone's home and the workload is a lot more than, as you guys are experiencing as well, it's a lot more, but give them some time to respond, okay? So that's rscheck@yorku.ca, that's Student Financial Services, okay? And there's also a link there to see the refund table, okay? So you've decided to drop a course, right? Look at the graded feedback, okay? You will get a graded feedback from your professor, you should, and if you don't, let us know. The failure of the course directed to provide the class with expected graded feedback is grounds for late review petition immediately after the required feedback was made available to the class. So I think it's 20, never correct me if I'm wrong, is it 20 or 25% they should get a feedback before the drop deadline? It's somewhere around there.
Yes, it's 20%.
Thank you, 20%, it was a 2. So 20% feedback, if you do not have a 20% feedback by November 6th, you have grounds to submit a petition or do a late withdrawal, okay? So that's one factor to think about. So you look at your graded feedback. If you think, you know what, you weigh the pros and the cons, you know, I think I'm going to continue taking this course. I think I can get at least the bare minimum, a C, right? I want to pass this course. Some student want an A. So those are things you have to think about. So you will get a graded feedback, look at that, and then weigh the pros and cons and whether you think you should drop it. If you don't think you're going to make it through, it's better to drop it by November 6th, okay? Oh, go back one more. Okay, so drop deadlines important. You must drop the course by the deadline date if you do not want a final grade in your transcript. So that's what I was saying earlier when I was talking about drop deadline. And note, remember, dropping a course has a financial impact, which we talked about a lot, okay? So next slide, thank you. So now you've dropped the course, right? So I've had a few students in my time where they dropped the course or they had a difficulty dropping it because this is an A+ student and they were getting a C and they were struggling with dropping this course because it's impacting who they are. They know they can perform better, they can do better in this course, but this one course is really pulling them down. So what I want you to remember is don't be too hard on yourself. Talk with us if you like, and we can help you to make those decisions. As we are here, we're discussing some of the factors to consider. So it is not your first or second year, it will get easier, okay? Speak with your academic advisor if you have a difficult time dealing with this. Next slide, please. So it's okay, take your time.
Sorry, there's just a quick question
Yeah.
I wanted to read out.
Yes.
If I am an international student, do I have to immediately replace the course I dropped with equal credits, or do I have some time to drop it afterwards? So for an international student, you need the full-time status, and that's just a minimum of 9 credits per term. So for example, if you have 15 credits in the fall and you want to drop 1 credit, because it's still over the 9 credits, you don't have to replace it. It's only when you're exactly at 9 credits and you drop,
Great, thank you,
then
Josephine.
you will have to drop it. I keep getting muted. Did you guys hear
Yeah.
that part? But yeah.
Yeah, so, and international students, if you're a science student, obviously you got the email, please reach out to your international advisor. Her name is Lan. We do have an international advisor to handle these types of questions. So if you're uncertain, reach out to that advisor, okay? If you don't recall who it is, yeah, thank you. SciAdvice. Oh, Miranda, you're so good. SciAdvice@yorku.ca. You will send your question to your international advisor to sciadvis@yorku.ca. It's in the chat box. Okay, so again, don't be hard on yourself. Okay, guys. Okay, so let me talk about the W option now. We talk about the drop deadline date. Okay, so November 6th. I want you guys to all write it in your book right now. Make a note of it and put it up next to your computer. Drop deadline November 6th. Now, from the 6th to the, from this November 7th to the end of class, end of your course, okay, you have the W option again, and I mentioned this already. So a student can withdraw from a course between the last day to drop a course without receiving a grade and the last day of the class. So there's two possible applications, okay? And when a student petitions to drop a course after classes have ended for the term. So there's two possible policies you can execute to with this W option, okay? Let's see, okay. Okay, so W option again, when considering whether to withdraw from a course, students should be aware of the following. So if you ask for that W option from the 7th onwards, the course will remain on a transcript with a designation of W. So I'm repeating this because students get often, they hear the W, but they didn't hear the rest of the information. So the course will remain on the transcript with a designation of W as the final grade. So next to my course on my transcript, it's going to say chemistry. I dropped the course. Oh, sorry, asked for a W. Next, it's going to have a W in brackets. Okay, that means I withdrew from the course. It still shows on my transcript, but it will not count towards my credits or averages. So it's not counting, okay? So just remember that. So that's the first part on the left side of this box here. The course will remain on the transcript. Okay, the course will not be counted as an attempt as it relates to repeated course legislation. So that's one of the legislation we talk about. If you withdrew from the course, it will not count as an attempt. Okay, so it'd be like when you repeat the course. Oh, go back. When you repeat the course, it'll be like the first time you're taking it. No refunds. Remember, I said no refund at this point for fall courses. When choosing this option for a third time, the student will be notified to seek advising with SAS. What that means, so the right box here, it means that you ask for the W, you repeat the course, but then you decide to take it for a third time. We do have another policy called the repeat policy. You can take a course up to 3 times, okay? The first 2 attempts will not count, only the last attempt, okay? So I'm gonna stop here because I'm seeing, if you withdrew from the course, for example, in the fall term, can you retake it later? Yes, you can retake the course. So when you say withdrew, be mindful of the word you're using. Drop and redraw. They're 2 different words and they have 2 different legislation. Just drop means you drop it before the drop deadline. It will not show in your transcript. W means withdrew. You withdrew from the course in the fall, but yes, you can retake it later, okay? But will the W stay in the transcript forever? Yes, the W will stay in your transcript forever. You cannot petition a W, okay? But it's not constant temp, second box point, yes, well, okay. What if we don't pass the course? Don't withdraw from it and repeat the course with a new grade be counted towards the GPA. So if you don't pass the course and you didn't withdraw from it, yes, you can repeat the course, but the first course and the first course grade will count, okay? The only time it doesn't count is if you ask to withdraw, so that's the W option, or drop, okay? Any other time it will count. Okay, next slide. I'm trying my best to answer you guys' questions, so bear with us. Okay, course repeat policy. So this is what I talk about repeating a course for the third time. The university allow you to take a course up to 3 times. Students can repeat a pass or fail course twice for degree or certificate credit, a maximum of 3 attempts per course. So you could take it 3 times. The first 2 attempts will show in your transcript, okay? But it will not count in the GPA, only the third one, okay? The previous attempts remain in your academic record. Only the most recent attempt counts towards your credit total and grade point averages, as I just mentioned, okay? I'll give you guys a minute to look at this slide, okay? Any grade awarded in prior attempts will remain in your transcript designated as a no credit retained. It will say NCR, okay? So I'll give you guys maybe 10 seconds to just read this on your own again, because we are getting a lot of questions with the W and the repeat policy. So I want you to just take it in a little bit.
I'll just kind of repeat it because Fatima requested that. So once again, a student has 3 attempts to take a course and get a final grade. When a student drops a course or withdraws from a course, that does not count as an attempt because there's no final grade with that course. So for example, if you took a course 3 times and withdrew from all 3 courses 3 times and you got a W, that's not included as an attempt. And it's only until you get a grade value of an A to an E, which you'll see later on in our presentation, that it's counted as an attempt. And every single time you get a final grade, whenever you repeat a course, the previous attempts will have an NCR, which stands for no credit retained, and you won't get the credit or the grade point average of your previous attempt within your GPA. Okay, it's only the most recent attempt up to 3 times that will be included within your GPA. If you take it up to 3 times and you still don't pass the course, that third attempt will always be counted towards your GPA, even if you pass with the 4th or the 5th attempt. Okay, does that make a little bit more sense, Fatima?
You did.
So yes, you could definitely repeat a course if you're not satisfied, but keep in mind that it's not the highest attempt that gets included within your GPA. It's the most recent attempt. So if you get a B+ on your first attempt and then you get a C+ on your second attempt, the B+ will not count. It'll be the C+. So just be mindful of that. If you do well in the course, don't try to retake it for a higher grade if you end up doing poorly on it the second time around.
Mm-hmm. One other question, can the course professor decide what grade will be counted towards the GPA? So any course you take will count towards your GPA. So, okay, so the professor don't really decide on what they submit the grade and then it's applied to your transcript. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so one of the other things I want you to consider before dropping as well, guys, is decide if this course is a prerequisite for 2000 level. Okay, so let's say I just started this semester and I'm a biology major and I have to take biology 1000, 1001. I know those are prerequisite for my 2000 level. I want to be on track for next fall, 2021, so I could take my 2000 level. So I take my 1000 level biology, I'm taking my course, I didn't do well, now I'm gonna drop it and I'm gonna pick it back up in maybe the winter, okay? So anytime you decide to drop a course, my point is look at how it's gonna impact your 2000 or 3000 level because courses are based on prerequisites, okay? If you don't have the 1000 level, you can't take the 2000 level. And so the way for you to find that out would even come into us. If you wanna look at your 2000 level course, if you decide to drop a 1000, and you want to take 2000, well, you're going to take 2000 level courses, look at the course calendar, timetable, and look at the course, the 2000 level course, and see what prerequisites it's asking for and make sure you have the prerequisites, okay? So that's one of the factors you have to consider is how will it impact your 2000 level, okay? After you've done the above and you do not think you will be able to pass the course, you should be considered dropping it, okay? Students may repeat a pass or a fail course 3 times. As we keep repeating to you guys, that's on the policy. If you fail a course 3 times for an academic degree or a certificate credit. So students may repeat a course or a fail course 3 times. So that's the NCR rule, course repeat policy, okay? And the other factor, consider extenuating circumstances. And one of them, I think most of you will agree, is the current situation we're in, having to deal with COVID and all. But there may be other stuff going on in your personal life that's affecting your performance in your course. So you have to, don't be hard on yourself. Just consider some of the things that you think that's possibly affecting your ability to do well in the course, especially if you know in your heart that, you know what, I know this stuff, like why am I not doing well, right? Consider that, those additional circumstances that might be affecting your performance in a course, okay? Okay, so next slide, please.
Okay. So here at York University, your GPA gets calculated after every academic session. So then within every session, you receive two different types of GPA. You receive a sessional GPA and a cumulative GPA. So the two sessions that we have here at York University is the fall-winter term, which we're currently in right now, and then we have the summer session. So fall-winter session includes the fall term, the winter term, and the year-long term. So ranges from September to April. And then we also have the summer session, which is from May to August. So the two different types of GPA that are calculated after every session is a sessional GPA, which is basically the average of all of the courses that you take within that session. And then we have the cumulative GPA, which is a GPA of every single course you've taken from York thus far. So for example, the only time you'll have the same cumulative and sessional GPA is for first year students because it's your first term and it's also a combination of all of your courses together. I see there's some questions in the chat. You apply for graduate studies for the winter, but you think you need more time to delay until next fall.
Something the student can email us about, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josephine? Yeah, that's a little complicated
Yeah.
to talk about the grad studies right now. The other questions, I'm a first term of biology program and I have taken biochem and ESL this term. I'm going to take the winter semester off because I'm going to deliver. Okay, I want to know what happens to the courses that I've taken for winter term because the courses that I have now are year. Oh, okay. So if you're in a full year course and you have to take the winter term off, I want you to be mindful of the drop deadline. It's for the full year, that's a white term course. It's not up yet, but if I were you, and you know for sure you're not going to be here for the winter, you may want to drop those courses now. You will lose money, unfortunately. You will lose money for that full year course. You will not get a refund. Our petition officer, Miranda, is here. She will be talking a bit about petitions. So Miranda, if you can go through when you're talking about what would happen, can the student, you saw the chat, right, Miranda?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so maybe we'll talk a little bit later about that, Anayante, okay? About maybe financial petition might be a possibility, but we don't handle that. That goes directly to financial services. So Miranda, we'll talk a little bit about that later. Go ahead.
So when a student receives their grades, a pass is a D or higher. So I was about to refer to that, Winnie. So if you get an E or an F, those are failing grades. So they're not considered passing a course. And here at York University, we're at a 9.0 scale. So I know it gets a little bit confusing, but the minimum GPA requirement for any program at York University is a 4. So as you can see from the chart, an E and an F is a marginally failing grade. So that doesn't mean that you pass the course. If you get an E or F, that means that you're going to have to repeat the course, especially if it is a program requirement. Okay.
Josie, there's another question. I could take it quickly. After I applied to graduate studies, to graduate for the winter term, can I delay my application to the next fall? So Omar, if you could just send that question to SciQuest, SCIQUESC at yorku.ca, so we can look into that a little bit more, okay? We don't want to sit. Josie?
Sorry, if it's a graduate studies program, we don't advise for graduate.
No,
but
I think the question
will refer you.
Yeah, I think he's saying, she, the student, can I delay my application until the next fall? If you apply to graduate studies for the winter term, can I do my next fall? I don't know. I think that's something you have to graduate first before you apply to grad studies. So let's take that question up by email, okay? Omar, thank you.
Okay. So a lot of students wonder how to calculate their GPA. So we made it really easy for students that via this link that will be sent to you guys later on, you're actually able to input your grades and the weight of each course to see exactly how it corresponds to this 9.0 scale. So as you could tell, we have different percentages. So for example, a C+ is considered a 5 grade point here at York, and then that's usually around a 65 to 69% average. But using this GPA calculator is a lot easier because students are actually able to calculate what their GPA is, and they're also able to do a reverse calculator. So if you want to, for example, you have an average of a 4 and you want to aim for a 5, you can use a reverse calculator to see what grades you need in a certain amount of credits in order to try to achieve to bring up your GPA to a 5. So this
Josie,
is what.
Oh, sorry. I was going to add. So to this slide, what Josephine is relaying to you guys, I just want to mention maybe one or two things. So again, the grade report only comes out twice a year. So you will receive one in this if you take a summer course, you receive a grade report. And then the next time you receive a grade report is in May. So grade reports for fall and winter, so both terms are released sometime in May. We don't know the exact date, but generally around May is when those the grade report is released. So what she's trying to tell you guys here is that you have to keep track of your fall courses. Okay, going into your winter, you want to do your calculation of how you did once you get all your grades back. How did you do in the fall? So that's the point of this slide, is we want to make sure you guys are checking, because there's no grade report to say, oh, you did this in the fall, or this is your GPA from the fall semester. You have to calculate that to check it on your own, okay? Thanks, Josephine.
No problem. And to answer, so I'll talk a little bit more about grade reports in a little bit, but also to answer Dura's question, you could see your grades each term, but your GPA just isn't calculated. So by using this link, you could calculate your own GPA, for example, for the fall, but you would not get your year-long or your winter courses until April of 2021. So you could definitely see it in between. After every term, you see your grades. It's just that you wouldn't get produced a GPA in between different sessions. So for HAFSA, for winter students, we combine the winter and the summer grades, right? No. So as I mentioned, there's 2 different sessions here at York University. The first session is fall-winter, which is from September to April. And the summer session is from May to August. So even if you're starting in the winter, you won't get, you're considered the fall-winter session. So your grades will come out in April. And then your summer is a completely different session and starts at a completely different time, and you'll be getting a separate grade session from there.
Okay, Hafsa said I see. Thank you. Good.
Okay. So this is what the GPA calculator looks like. So it's really easy. You could put in your course, for example, Math 1013, that's weight 3 credits. You'll get a grade of C+, and then you'll see the grade point average, and everything will just be calculated at the bottom. So when you guys get a chance, you guys could definitely play around with it, and you could kind of match it up with the GPA that's posted on your student account, because we also calculate your GPA as well. But for first-year students, if you're curious about what your GPA is, you could put your fall courses in through this link in December when you get your final grades. Okay, so this is what Tina was referring to. It's really, really important that you guys always check your grade report decision. So grade report decisions are available after every session. So after the fall winter session, so you'll get it in May, and then after the summer session, in which you'll get your grade report in August or September. So these grade report decisions basically tell you what your academic status is as a student here at York University. So it'll notify you whether you're able to continue your studies, if you're on good standing, if you're on academic warning, or sometimes in some cases, students may not be able to continue their studies based off of their grades. So it's really important that you're always checking your grades and even calculating your grades or using the reverse calculator to see what grades you need in certain courses to ensure that you are meeting the right requirements and you are in good standing. And if not, then that's where you could reach out to myself, Tina, Miranda, and also Lan, too, if you're an international student, and Susie, our senior advisor, to see if dropping a course is the best option for you, just so that we could avoid those implications. Okay, so I thought that was a question, but they're saying thank you. Okay, so there are multiple factors that could affect your grades. So as Tina mentioned earlier on in the presentation, transition could definitely be a factor. Right now, some students are not only transitioning from high school to university, but they're also transitioning to online learning. And it's something that we're all kind of getting used to due to the circumstances. So that is something that could definitely affect someone's grades, especially if you're more hands-on learner. Also not being able to study depending on what your situation is. Maybe you may have to work for financial support, or there may be family issues going on. If you need more academic support and you're not sure who to reach out to, maybe mental health, or maybe your course load's a little bit too heavy because you weren't able to kind of compare the weight of high school compared to university. So there's so many different factors that do affect students' grades. So never be too hard on yourself. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help you. So always reach out to us if you feel like you need this extra support. Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
You want me to do us? Okay, here we go. So we want to talk a little bit about when you feel stuck, you know, when you're in that mode where, you know, you're either fed up or you not know what to do. You need some support in terms of academic support. So we do have a few slides or a few websites we want to share with you. But Miranda, would you be kind enough to talk about Bethune College or Navru, whoever wants to chime in?
For sure.
Or
So
both? Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and talk about Bethune College.
Thank you.
And Navru, please feel free to jump in at any point if you think I missed anything about the services offered by Bethune. So basically, Bethune College for science students, that's your support college. It's basically your home out of the classroom. And for academic support, they offer peer tutoring and past sessions. So with peer tutoring, you get one-on-one help, and you would be able to talk to tutors and ask them questions that you may not quite understand with the courses you're taking. And keep in mind, these peer tutors are usually upper year students who've taken the course and they've done well in it previously. Opposed to peer tutoring, there's also past sessions, and the past sessions are held again by upper year students who have done well in the course. They're a little more group sessions, and they're usually held online now given the COVID-19 situation. You can look up the peer tutoring and past sessions through bethune.yorku.ca. So you'll be able to access these services through them. Navroop, do you want to add anything about the peer tutoring and past sessions?
Just that I highly recommend that you guys make use of these services because they do a lot of practice midterms and exams before actual midterms and exams, so it can greatly improve your letter grades.
Okay.
Okay.
Tina, did you want me to go on with the others, or will you?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, sure. Well, okay. Why don't I do it?
Yeah.
So so the next tab here, guys, is Science Academic Services. That's us. So we do we timetable, scheduling, getting overwhelmed, any of those. If you have issues with any of those, please reach out to us through sidequest@yorku.ca. We do ask you bear with us in terms of responding to your email. Please do not send us 3, 4, 5 separate questions. Try to bundle them in one email and send it to us. We do try our best to get back to those to your email. Okay, I know a couple of people said, "Oh, you never responded," but you know, I apologize for that. But I can't really. All I can say is just send your questions again, and we'll try our best to respond. Okay. Generally, August, September. Actually, it's been quite busy since COVID started. We've been getting overwhelmed with the emails. But I think we're up to the point where we've responded to almost all of them because we've gotten additional support as well. So again, any questions about your timetable, scheduling, if you're getting overwhelmed and you need that support, reach out to us and we'll point you in the right direction who you should contact. Okay. Skills workshops. So we have the study skills, get study tips and learn how to build a resume, etc. There's a website here, so the Learning Skills Services website. And I believe you guys do get an email from the Learning Skills as well. But again, you're receiving tons of emails from York, right? So how do you know, like if you don't have the time to go through all of them? But the study skills, learning skills, workshops, they're very helpful. So they have mini workshops like presenting, studying for an exam, time management, mental health subjects, different things that will certainly help you. I know for myself as a staff member, this is geared towards student, the learning services workshops is geared towards for students, but I did attend one of them to improve my presentation skill, and I actually learned quite a bit. And I hope I'm doing a good job here. Please don't criticize me. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so student accessibility services is another support. It's a big one on campus. That's amazing, the services here. So we have personal counseling services. Their location obviously is by Zoom. So if you wanted to speak to someone, you can contact them by this number and they will reach out to you and set up a Zoom meeting. So everything, as you know, we're online, everything is Zoom, right? So please reach out if you need any type of support, mental health, physical disability, anything relating to any sort of student counseling, okay, or disability service. The numbers are here and you will receive the slide. There's a personal, that's the same number there in crisis. So you can call this number. And there's also the good to talk. But there's a couple other slides that I want to share with you, or that York that I just found. Okay, so, oh yeah, here we go. Cancel. Okay, go to the next one. Thank you very much. So here's a good slide that I learned myself yesterday. I attended a workshop at York via Zoom. Public Health had a session yesterday and they showed this slide to us. It's finding support during COVID. So there's a 211 number that you can contact if you have there. It's for non-emergency. So if you're having difficulty or you need to talk to someone, or you have questions about COVID, this is the line to call. Obviously, if you want to go in for a test for COVID, this is not the number you will call, okay? They have an email address here, they have a live chat, they have text. It's a good resource, especially if you are, I think it's for everyone actually, but international students, we do have some international students that have to come and isolate for 14 days. This will be a good number to call if you need someone to talk to, okay? Next slide, please. Okay, so next steps, okay. Oh, York International, here we go, thank you. So for international students, if there's any of you in the room, I would encourage you, there's a York International is here to assist all visiting international students as well as domestic and international students who wish to study or work abroad. So this is their email address, or if you go to the York website and you just type in the search box, York International, their information will come up, okay? So they mostly have services for international students and they also do exchange program. At this point, I don't think they're doing any exchange because of this current situation, but York International is a good resource for international students. Okay, so before we get into the question and answer, we do have Miranda, who will speak about petition. She's going to touch on it a little bit to explain what that is. But before she does, I want to share a couple of slides with you. Okay, here we go. So here's the counseling, student counseling and development services. There's a lot of, this is only eligible for students that are currently registered and enrolled at the Kiel campus, okay? So after our support, and the reason I'm mentioning the support services is I think we all kind of need it more now than we did before. So there's quite a few numbers here here's that 211 in Ontario that you can contact. I just showed you that slide. But there's a lot of other numbers if you're in distress or need support that you can contact. Okay, I'll put this into the chat box, and just bear with me because I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Okay. 1 second. Okay. What just happened? Okay. There we go. Chat. Put this in the chat box for you guys. So if you did want to contact these people, it's there. There you go. So that's a counseling. The other one I would like to share with you is, give me 1 second. They have a lot of upcoming events, and I thought it was quite interesting. I want to attend, but I don't think they will let me. It's this one here. Student, community, and leadership development. They have some great workshops here. They have nutrition, okay, sleep for better grades, virtual student mental health 101. This is a good one to take. I've taken this one and I find it was very helpful. So I'd like to share that with you. That's coming up on November 5th. So that's a good resource if you're going through it, or if you're feeling overwhelmed and you need some sort of a boost, I would say attend this workshop. So party at home, drugs and alcohol safety planning, okay? There's that one. We went through the sleep for better grades, and self-care is another one I want to point out. So that's coming up on the November 10th, 3 to 4:30. So these workshops are pretty small. They're not too long. So I would encourage you to build some time in if you find any of these interesting to attend, okay? That would apply to you. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to ask Miranda now to share her slides about petition. We're going to touch on that for a bit. Okay, thanks, Miranda.
Thank you, Tina. Before I start, can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So I'm just gonna hide that. All right. So you've been hearing Tina and Josephine talk about the drop deadlines and what to do if you miss those deadlines. So if you missed a deadline and you want to have the course removed from your transcript, if you did, and if you didn't do that well as you were hoping to, you can petition that course off of your transcript. Now, you may be wondering, what is a petition? This is usually a written request by you, the student, to waiver a faculty academic regulation or deadline. So you can do drop deadlines, you can petition that off, you can petition for deferred standing. All of those I will talk about as we're coming up. But just keep in mind, there are two different types of petition. You have the academic petition, and then there's the financial petition. So what can be petitioned? You have dropping a course past the published deadline date. You can add a course past the published deadline date, and I'll get a little more in detail with each of these, so no need to worry about that. You also have deferred standing, waiving degree requirements, academic standing regulations waived, exemption from the deadline to submit a request for a grade reappraisal, and a course overload. So just to get a little more in detail with each type of petition that you can do, I'll start off with dropping a course. This is one of the most common petitions you can do. And usually students, if they want to petition a course off because maybe you didn't do that well in the course or you missed the drop deadline, you can still petition that course. However, an important thing to keep in mind is that you can petition that course off of your transcript within 30 days of the last class of that course. So after you've completed the course, if you get a grade or you miss that drop deadline, you can drop that course within 30 days. That being said, that doesn't mean you can't still petition the course. A petition for dropping a course can be considered for up to 1 year after. However, this is based on special circumstances, but it's only if the student submits the petition as soon as possible following the 30-day submission deadline. If you submit your petition late for dropping a course, you will need to address that lateness in something called a petition letter. And I'll get more in detail with that in the next slide. So when it comes to dropping a course, you need to submit a petition package. That petition package will include 4 types of documents. The first is an undergraduate academic petition form, which can be accessed from the York Academic Petitions website. You also need a typed petition letter, and in that letter, you will clearly state the regulation you're petitioning and outline any reasons or circumstances that may have affected you and what are those reasons for your petition. Now, I like to think of the petition letter as your way of communicating with the committee to let them know, okay, this is what happened to me during the time I was taking the course. This is why I missed that drop deadline. And I would kindly like to petition this course off. I would say be as detailed as you can in your petition letter. The next thing you need is a course performance summary. So let's say, for example, you're petitioning off 2 courses. You need to have a course performance summary, which will be for each of the courses you're petitioning off. Now, there's 2 parts to the course performance summary. Section 1 is completed by you, the student, while section 2 should be either completed by the course instructor or the course department. So let's say, for example, you don't remember who that course instructor was, or you don't know who the course instructor was, or you can't get in contact with them, you can contact the department to fill out the course performance summary. And then in addition to that, you also need supporting documents. So let's say in your petition letter, you cited medical circumstances. It may be beneficial for you to include an APS form, which is an attending physician statement. You can include a counselor's note or any other supporting documents you think may help back up the claims you said in your letter. Now, given that it's COVID-19, for courses that you're petitioning off that were affected by COVID-19, the APS form has been waived. So that means it's not required for you to submit an APS form during that time. So the next type of petition we have is called a deferred standing. Now, let's say, for example, you missed the final exam. Your first step would be to approach your course instructor. And when you do that, you can arrange a deferred standing or an alternate date for you to write your final exam. Now, let's say for some reason your professor decides, okay, they're not going to grant you this deferred standing. That's where a petition for deferred standing would be applicable. Now, once you petition for a deferred standing, there are a few documents you need to remember to include in your package. Now, petitions for deferred standing have to be submitted within a week of the missed final exam or assignment. And again, if you submit a petition late, you need to address the lateness in your petition letter. So, what do you need to include for your petition for a deferred standing? You need the undergraduate academic petition form. Again, you need that typed petition letter. And again, please be as detailed as you can in your petition letter. You need something called the Deferred Standing Agreement form. On this form, you'll fill in your information and information about the course, and the professor needs to sign that form and say, okay, they're not granting you a deferred exam. And that form is important for you to include in your petition. Otherwise, your petition will be canceled if it's not there. You also need to include any supporting documentation, again, attending physician statement, counselor's note, or any other documentation you think will be relevant to your petition. Okay, so you may be wondering, okay, I need permission to add this course, but the deadline to add a course has passed. You can fill out a petition package. You can submit a petition package for adding a course past the published deadline date. For this type of petition, you need to submit, again, the undergraduate academic petition form, a petition letter, and then one of the special forms in this type of petition is called the petition to enroll late form. Here you will fill out your information and information about the course that you want to add. And then any supporting documentation that will back up your reasonings for adding this course late. Okay, so now you have waiving degree requirements. Now, typically students can petition to have their degree requirements waived or altered. So let's say, for example, there's a course you want to take to replace another one. Given that that course is similar and has similar material, you can petition to have that course replaced. But again, this is not always guaranteed that it will be granted. You can petition to have degree requirements waived. So for example, if you have 3,000 and 4,000 levels and you need to complete 42 credits at that level, and you only have 41 credits, you can petition to have that one remaining credit waived. So rather than graduating with 42 credits at the 3,000, 4,000 level, you'd be able to do it with 41. But for you to petition waiving degree requirements, you need to submit an undergraduate academic petition form, you need a typed petition letter, and you need supporting documentation. You may notice there's a similar pattern within most of the types of petitions in terms of what you need to include in your package, and that's the petition form, petition letter, and any supporting documents. All right. Now, you might have heard Josephine talk about your GPA and what to do if you're not doing so well and your GPA is low. Now, when you get your grade report at the end of every academic session, you're given an academic decision. And let's say, for example, your GPA dropped below the required to stay in that program, and you are required to withdraw for 1 year, or you're debarred for 2 years if you were on a debarment warning, or you just want to waive your academic standing, you can do so through a petition. And again, the documents needed for that would be an undergraduate academic petition form, a petition letter, and any supporting documentation. Okay, so as students, you will know that you are allowed a maximum of 33 credits for the fall-winter session and 15 credits for the summer session. However, if you would like to take over that allowed amount, you would need to petition for a course overload. And to do so, you will need to submit a petition package, which includes an undergraduate academic petition form. You need to submit a course schedule or a timetable, which includes the proposed course overload that you have. And you also need it to be conflict-free so that you have spaces for each of the classes you want to take. You also need a petition letter, and the CPS form is usually not relevant in this instance just because sometimes you may decide to change the course later on that you want to take. So, what else do you need to know about academic petitions? Typically, the process can take 6 to 8 weeks for it to be completed from the time you've submitted your package. And that depends on a number of things. It depends on when your package is reviewed and when the decision letter is sent out to you. Let's say, for example, you petition off a course, you want to petition to drop that course. If that petition is granted, it may take the registrar's office a few days to have that course removed from your transcript. And then usually students can submit their petitions to the registrar's office. During this time, especially because it's COVID-19, they're no longer accepting physical packages. You will now need to submit your package through a virtual Dropbox. If you log on to the registrar's office, registrar.yorku.ca/petition/academic, you will see there's a virtual Dropbox, a link for that on the website.
That's so cool. They have a virtual Dropbox.
I know. I recently learned about it a couple
I'm just visualizing it as you're saying this to me. That's amazing.
So students, just keep in mind, you're not allowed to submit a petition for the same course and the same regulation more than once. So let's say, for example, you've petitioned to drop a course off of your transcript and that petition was denied. You're not allowed to resubmit a petition to drop that course again. because the committee has already decided to deny that request. For more information, there's a website link here, and as Tina mentioned, you guys will be getting the slides, so you can feel free to take a look at the websites that are listed.
Great.
Okay, now someone was asking about financial petitions earlier. Now, let's say, for example, you had to drop a course in a rush, it was past the deadline, and that petition was granted. You can submit a financial petition to get back basically your tuition that you paid for that course. And usually you may submit a financial petition if you experience a serious documented medical illness or a death of an immediate family member that causes you to drop that course. Now, just a little disclaimer, financial petitions do not go through the Faculty of Science. That's done through the Student Financial Services. You can email them at rscheck@yorku.ca. Before submitting a financial petition, you would need to first drop the course. So if it's one course you're dropping, make sure you drop that course, or if it's your whole semester, you have to drop all those courses first, and then fill out the financial petition form. Now that's online. Right after I'm done with the presentation, I will show you what that website looks like. You also need to gather any of your supporting documentation, and this is similar to the documentation in academic petitions. So you need your APS form, counselor statement, debt certificates, any of those that are applicable to the financial petition. You also need to submit your package. Again, it's waived. They're not accepting physical packages. So there's an online platform, which I'll show you on the website, where you can submit your financial petition. And more information for that can be found at the Student Financial Services website /refunds/petitions. So I found this slide on when I was going through. So if you're thinking about enrolling into courses coming up, so whether it's the winter or the summer, and you want to know where you can check your enrollment times, you'd go on to the current students webpage, then access my online services and find out when I can enroll. And you'd usually have to log in using your Passport York account. Before you enroll into courses, you need to ensure that you have the prerequisites. And again, this comes into where Tina was talking about. If you decide to drop a course, you need to look at how it will affect the courses you're planning on taking, whether it's your second, your third, or your fourth year. So just keep that in mind if you decide to drop courses. And then if you need to know your degree requirements, you can look at the undergraduate academic calendars, and we've provided a link for that website there as well. It'll show you requirements from your first year to your final year. So if you're ever confused about what courses you need to take, that's a great tool for you to use. That being said, you can also talk to us if you're confused about that calendar as well. And then you'd look at specifically on that website, you can look at your program calendar. So whether you're in chemistry, biology, physics, you can look at those on the calendar website. We also have degree checklists. And again, you can obtain these from the science faculty. So you could just reach out to us. And if
SciQuest.
at SciQuest@yorku.ca. So if you want to know what those degree requirements are, just reach out to us and we'll be able to help you with that. Okay.
Great.
So I included the email here for the petitions. So if you are considering a petition and you don't know where to start or what you need to do, just contact scipet@yorku.ca and I will be able to assist you further.
Great. Thank you, Miranda. That was a good presentation on petitions. And students, the reason we wanted to discuss that, I know that it may be, quite a few information, but if you're considering petitioning, this will be useful for you to know how to find Miranda. So she just put up her email address. You want to put it up one more time. So any questions you have petition related, oh, there it is. Oh, you put up the Student Financial Service, scipet@yorku.ca. That's for petition only. She's a petition officer. She deals with petition only. So questions about petitions, you have question that goes to her. Any other questions? Degree requirements, support services, your grade report, degree checklist. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Please email sciquest@urq.ca. And again, you can reach us through the chat, science chat. We want you to also ask you guys, if you are talking to your friends and they need support from the Faculty of Science, if they're a science student, they can contact us through those two mentioned channels that I just mentioned. Okay, so sciquest@urq.ca and the science chat. So I think today we're just going to wrap it up and maybe take a few questions in a couple minutes. I just want to run through quickly what we've completed so far in this presentation. So we talked about the drop deadline dates. So your takeaway is November 6th is a drop deadline for fall courses. The withdrawal option. So if you don't drop by the 6th, you have between the 6th and the end of your this term, before like end of the school year, to ask for a W option. We talk about a petition policy as well, how you can use that in your favor if you have substantial reason to petition. We also talk how to interpret your grades. So keep, be aware, not aware, but be mindful of, you know, how are you progressing after you complete your exams in December. Maybe you might want to calculate your GPA to see how you did in the fall term. Grade reports will be released for fall and winter in May. We're hoping nothing impact that timeline, but usually it's May. And we talk about some of the different factors that can prevent you from doing well in your course. So really think about, if you're not doing well, what are the things that are preventing you from doing well? Don't be hard on yourself. And I think that's it for me in terms of what we wanted to cover. I think we covered most of it today, or all of it today. I'm going to ask maybe Navroop, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Do you have any tips to give our student, being a student yourself, in terms of studying from home? Like anything that you find that help you? Everyone's different, but you might have a couple of tips. If you don't, that's okay.
Yes, so for generally, I did get to be on campus for almost 3 semesters, and now this is my 3rd semester online as well. So the biggest transition for me, honestly, that has helped me cope is just keeping up with work. I would say make sure you're in touch with your classmates. For those who just started this semester, try to join Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups so that you're aware of other students that are in your classes, so that you can keep a tab of each other. For me, that's what usually helps. Like, I always work on assignments with my friends, so we know exactly what's going on. Also, try keeping an agenda, and please attend your live lectures. Do not let your lectures pile up, because I did that before the reading week, and it was really hard for me to catch up. So just those. And lastly, I just want to say, do not compare yourself with others. That was the biggest thing that I did in first year, and it did not do any favors for my mental health. So don't be too hard on yourself, and I wish you guys all the luck for this semester.
Thank you very much. That was good. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask us? And we will apologize from now if we can't get to all of them. I hope you guys understand that this online stuff, I actually don't like presenting. I mean, it's going well so far, I think, but much rather have in person. But we'll try to get to your questions as best as we can. So about the charges for dropping a course, what if I exchange it with another? What happens? So at this point, you can't really exchange a course. That deadline has passed. You could do that for your winter term courses, though. You're still within the deadline to do that.
For HAFSA, we personally, I don't believe we have a Facebook group for first year students, but some students do take it upon themselves.
Actually, we do have one, Bethune College.
Okay.
Navroop, you guys, they can use it throughout the year, the Facebook.
I'm not sure about the one, because
Okay, that's fine. So it doesn't look like we have a Facebook group. I know for the new students coming in, they can join a Facebook group, but at this point, I'm not aware of any. Okay, I understand. good. Any other questions? Don't be shy. We don't know who you are, and no one's seeing your questions. So, or maybe some people are.
So CK asked, how many courses do you take? Do you plan to take more than 4 years to complete a degree? So CK really is up to you in your own personal circumstances. Usually the average amount of years is 4 years, and how we calculate that is about 30 credits per year. But that 30 credits could be 24 in the fall, winter, and 6 credits in the summer. So it really depends on how you want to kind of manage your time and how much of a course load you want to take on. Some students do 30 credits for the full fall, winter term, and then they take the summer off. We don't rush students to graduate. You can take as long as you need. So it really is up to you.
I would encourage, just add a tip to that. I would encourage student, consider your course load. If it's you finding that it's too heavy, you may want to consider, reducing it, right, until you're in a better space to take a full course load. But bear in mind, if you apply for OSAP, you must have 9 credits in the fall, 9 credits in the winter if you want to get the full funding, which would be 100%. Okay. So we have another question: is ESL mandatory to take in the first year? So it is mandatory if your advisor recommend you take ESL in your first year. Yes, you should. The only exception to that is if the course is full and you're not able to get into it, then you could take it later. But if the course is available for you to take, yes, you must take it in your first year. Okay, so Hafsa, just one sec. I'm trying to enroll, but it's fully reserved. So if you're trying to, okay, so that's a big one for students. So a lot of courses, if you're trying to reserve and it's, to enroll a course and it says reserve, 2 things. You can email the department and again, give them time to respond. Email the department and ask for permission. They may have a waiting list, they may not. The other option is you have to keep trying. So my recommendation to student, if you're trying to enroll in your winter courses now, just keep trying every day, because the only, if students are online, if you're online and someone drop you might be able to get a spot. So I would encourage you to keep trying every day. But the other, can we get the department's email? So actually, if you want to contact any departments, just go on the York website. So I'm going to put it up here actually to everyone. I'm going to put up our science website. So if you go to science.yorku.ca, you will see all of the department contact information on there. So maybe I should bring it up and show our students. What do you think quickly? How to get in contact with us? Another way. Should I? I should. Okay. Give me a second.
I could pull it up if you like. So the link that
let me see if I can beat you to it.
Oh, I have it up. The link that I sent, what you guys do is just a list of all of the departments, and then any department that you'll like any contact information in, just click on learn more about biology, and then contact us and you'll have their email address.
There you go. Perfect.
Everything is there. So biology@yorku.ca. So just go to any department from the link I sent you, and then just go to contact us and you'll see everything there. Okay. That's probably the easiest way. You can also Google it as well, and it will be there. Yeah,
so to get in contact, that's how you get in contact with the department and with us, okay? So any course-related questions will go to the department, okay? You do have your own department if you're biology or chemistry. There are people in there in the department can answer your questions as well. And we encourage you to reach out to us, but we may have to direct you to them as well if it's a question we feel that they should be answering. Okay, so generally, did the cost of tuition increase because of COVID? I heard some tuition in another university increased because of it. And I'm just curious if you got affected too in that way. So what I'm going to ask a student to do is go on the York Financial website. We posted the link here. I honestly have not heard about the courses increasing. I did hear about the government trying to decrease it. I haven't heard about any increase, and I can't imagine that we will do that. So I would say no, it hasn't increased. Josephine, have you heard of any increase in fees? I have not. None of us advisor have not. So
no, I haven't heard of anything.
Yeah, so go onto the York website and just Google financial services, and you can look up the fees or Google fees, and you'll find it there. Okay, so we have about 5 more minutes. Before we wrap up, I want to ask students for a bit of suggestion from you guys. If you can give us just one topic you want to see in the future, just one topic. I don't want like one or two maybe. So I'm going to encourage you guys to put that in the chat, and then we'll take a couple more questions. Not all departments have waitlists, great. So not all departments have waitlists that I mentioned. My best advice, keep trying. 2-3 times a day, just keep trying, you'll get in. Especially the first week of class, right? Students usually drop out anyways, right? And there's spaces that just pop up. That's a good time to check as well.
Sorry, so sorry, just going back to your question regarding if undecided major students, is it guaranteed to get into preferred program once you complete all the undecided major credits, or will it be competitive? Usually when undecided major students are put in that program, usually during their enrollment appointment before they start here at York, we ask them what programs they're trying to cater to declaring in the future. So for example, if you're interested in biology, we would recommend that you take the introduction to biology courses and a minimum of 24 credits in order to declare your program in the next session. It's competitive in the sense that it depends on what program you're interested in. This year, the bio program was full, but as long as you're able to meet the GPA requirements and the mission requirements, you can always put in your request to change your program.
Yeah,
there usually isn't that big of a competition.
Yeah, so Hafsa, you must have attended a presentation that I had about undecided major. But basically you would declare your, after 24 credits, you have to declare a major. Okay, so whether it's biology, chemistry, or outside our faculty, you would have to declare a major after 24 credits. Yes, I choose biomedical science. Okay, so that's great.
And we actually encourage students to change their program. So because you have to change your program, most likely you'll get into the program you want to change into as long as you meet all of the requirements, because students aren't able to be an undecided major for 2 years or after they take over 24 credits.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple more minutes. Okay, so I have in the admission letter,
yeah, so for
it says the duration of my program is 4 years. Biomedical science is a 4-year degree. It's an honors. Go ahead, Josephine.
Oh yeah, so an honors degree is 120 credits, and they divide that by 4, which equals 30 credits. So I was answering someone's question earlier. We equate 30 credits to 1 year, and that's how we calculate it. It doesn't necessarily have to be 4 years. You could also do it in 5 years, but that's just the minimum time limit or the time that students are here at York.
Okay, I have a question. How do I choose a minor? So what is a minor or major? You have to put in a program change. To get that information, if you want to Google on the York's search box, you can Google program change, and that link will come up. And you can look at how you have to submit your request online is my point here. If you want to choose a major, a double major, or another major, you have to put in that request online. And also there are deadline dates for submitting. So you might want to be mindful of those deadline dates, okay? Doing a major fine, or do we have to have a combination? No, you don't have to have a combination. Only if you choose to do that. Yeah, so again, you put in a request online. So yeah, you submit the request online, okay? But read the information and the program changes, deadline, timelines there for submitting. So I think at this point, you can't really submit any program requests. So since we're talking about changing program, we usually have a whole presentation on that as well, another topic. But so the change is done online. If you're trying to change to a different faculty, so not Faculty of Science, you can submit your request. The earliest is January 1st, and the deadline is June 30th. If you're trying to change your program within science, so you want to go from biology to chemistry, let's say, then you could submit your requests starting February 1st up to the first week of class, so first week in September. But now you can't submit any change. The deadline's passed for that. You have to wait till January and February. Okay.
Also, just keep in mind quickly, just to add that students can only double major and minor in programs if they're in an honors degree, which requires a GPA of a 5. which is a C+ or higher. So if you're in a bachelor's program, you wouldn't be able to minor or double major in any program. But as Tina said, we do have a workshop later on regarding that. So you will be getting an email from us if you want a little bit more information on that.
Okay, so we'll give you guys another minute and then we'll close it off. If you have any, like I mentioned, any topic you want to see. Oh, we will be hosting another workshop. I think the date, I forgot the date we mentioned. I have it on my calendar. But it will be November 20th. The three of us will be hosting another workshop on support services on campus. So we'll be talking a little bit about access to support services. We touched on it here, but we'll go a little bit more in depth and hopefully help you get ready to write your final exam and give you some sort of boost and help you through this. We help each other, I guess. Sorry, I'm being philosophical right now. Okay, Miranda, you're quiet. Never. Anything else, guys? Oh, here we go. Thank you. This was helpful. You're welcome. Feedback is good for us to know, guys. This is our first online presentation. We have not done this online before.
And also, I don't know if everyone saw my message, but if you're interested in getting the recording or a copy of the PowerPoint slides, please email us at SideQuest and we'll email it to you. That's
right. Josephine did remind me that there's no way for us to find out who registered for this workshop because we don't have your email address. So email us at sidequest@yorku.ca and we will send it to you, okay? We are required to. Okay, for international student, we're required for the government to quarantine for 14 days. Does York offer a quarantine package? Yes, we do. There is a package. Please contact York International and they will give you that information. Okay, I think it's on the York website as well. I think they pay, there's some kind of funding for hotel, I think. Something to that. Don't hold me to that, but I think there is definitely some support in terms of funding for that quarantine period. This was such an important information session. You're welcome. Thank you so much. What is this? Oh, I know Ottawa has an agreement to hotel for their international student, for example. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
So if a course is ever reserved or restricted, you always have to contact the department directly, just because they have jurisdiction over their own courses. So the link that I sent regarding the contact information, you could contact the department. So if it's a biology course, the department will be biology. If it's a chemistry course, the department will be chemistry. For ESL, the department will be language, linguistics, and
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I can write it down.
I have it here.
So long.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it as
Languages, linguistics, and literatures department. So I'll just put in the link in the chat.
Great.
Any other questions or suggestions?
We're here right now, guys. So you got us. We're not behind the email now. So if you have questions, we're okay to answer them. Continue answering them for maybe a couple more minutes. I see a lot of engagement from you guys, so we really appreciate that you're engaging with us. Okay, so I think we'll close it off now.